good fortune to you. I know all about the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. Please wait patiently until that time.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus reassured all the demigods, they offered their respectful obeisances unto him, and returned confident that the demon was now perfectly dead.
Okay.
Hiranyakashipu had a wonderful son, well-qualified sons, of whom the one named Prahlad was the best.
Ich habe jetzt direkt Kopfhörer reingestellt.
Ich habe jetzt Audio.
Du hast Audio?
Ja.
Hörst du uns selber sprechen? Hörst du uns selber sprechen?
Sorry?
Du hörst uns selber sprechen?
Nee, aber der Sound ist... Ach so, Moment, jetzt doch.
Unlike other asuras, he was never envious of personals and never agitated when put into danger. From the very beginning of his childhood, he was uninterested in childish playthings. Indeed, he gave them up altogether and remained silent, being fully absorbed in God consciousness. Because of his spiritual advancement, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes sang loudly, and sometimes began to dance in ecstasy. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end, and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. His father sent him to Nanda and Amarka, and two sons of Shukracharya to be educated. Prahlad heard the topics of politics and economics taught by his teachers, but he thought that politics involves considering someone as a friend and someone else as an enemy, and thus he did not like it. Once, Hiranyakashipu took Prahlad on his lap.
My dear son, please, let me know what you think is the best of all the subjects you have studied from your teachers.
O best of the Asuras, as far as I have learned from my Guru, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thus is the intelligence of children spoiled by the words of the enemy. Give complete protection to this boy at the Gurukul, so that Vaishnavas who may go there in disguise may not further influence his intelligence.
When Hiranyakashipu's servants brought Prahlad back to the Gurukul, his teacher Sandana Marka, after hearing what had happened, became very upset.
Dear Prahlad, oh please, and good fortune unto you.
Now, kindly, do not...
One day, after Prahlad's mother had personally washed the body and dressed him nicely with sufficient ornaments, they presented him before his father. Seeing that this child had fallen at his feet to pay his obeisances, Hiranyakashipu seated Prahlad on his lap and began smelling his head.
My dear son, for so much time, you've heard many things from your teachers. Now, please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge.
Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving his lotus feet, offering him respectful worship and prayers, becoming his servant, considering him to be one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 methods are accepted as pure devotional service, and one should be understood to be the most learned person who has dedicated his life to one or more of these 9 methods to Shri Vishnu.
Vishnu? Oh, unqualified, most heinous sons of a Brahmin! You have disobeyed my order and taken shelter of the party of the enemy! You have taught this poor boy about Vishnu! What is it, nonsense?
Oh, enemy of King Indra!
Your Majesty.
Whatever your son has said was not taught to him by me or anyone else.
It is intrinsic to his nature.
Therefore, please do not unnecessarily accuse us. It is not good to insult a Brahmin in this way.
Prahlad, you rascal, most fallen of our family! If you have not received this education from their teachers, where have you gotten it?
Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclination towards the Lord are never aroused by their own efforts or by the instructions of others.
Blinded by anger, Hiranyakashipu threw Prahlad off his lap.
Take this boy away from me! He deserves to be killed, as he's the killer of my brother! For he has given up his family to engage in the devotional service of the enemy! Therefore, kill him!
Hiranyakashipu's demonic servants, who all had fearful faces, sharp teeth, and reddish coppery beards and hair, began striking the tender parts of Prahlad's body with their tridents. But their weapons had no effect on his body. When all their attempts to kill his son were futile, Hiranyakashipu, being most fearful, began contriving other means to kill him. He threw his son beneath the feet of big elephants. He threw him among huge snakes, employed destructive spells, hurled Prahlad from the top of a hill, administered poison, starved him, exposed him to cold, winds, fire, and water, threw heavy stones to crush him, but found that he could not in any way harm Prahlad.
I have devised many means of killing him. But despite all my endeavors, he could not be killed. Indeed, he appears to be immortal. Each time he saved himself by his own powers without being affected in the least. Therefore, because of my enmity towards him, I shall surely die.
Oh Lord, no. We know that when you simply move your eyebrows, all the devas of the various planets are most afraid.
Without the help of any assistant, you have conquered all the 3 worlds, Your Majesty.
Therefore, we do not find any reason for you to be morose and full of anxiety, Your Majesty.
Until the return of our father Shukra Acharya, let us bind him with the ropes of Varuna, so that he cannot flee. Thus, there is no cause for anxiety, Your Majesty.
And by the time he is somewhat grown up, he will change in his intelligence.
After hearing these instructions, Hiranyakashipu agreed and requested them to instruct Prahlad in the duty of royalty. When the teachers went home to attend to their household affairs, the students of the same age as Prahlad would call him.
Prahlad, we're going to play outside. Would you like to come?
Oh yes, Prahlad, please come. It will be so much fun.
My dear friends, one who is intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life to perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who is in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, is the Father of all living entities. You cannot please Him by becoming perfect Brahmanas, demigods, or great sages, or by becoming perfect in etiquette or learning, nor by charity, austerity, sacrifice, cleanliness, or vows. The Lord is pleased only if you have unflinching, unalloyed devotion to Him. Without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. Therefore, my dear friends, please act in such a way that the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the conception of material knowledge, will be satisfied. Act without enmity and show mercy to all living entities. I received this knowledge, which is based on logic and philosophy, from the great saint Narada Muni.
But Prahlad, neither you nor we know any other teacher than Sanda and Amarka.
Dear friend, how was it possible to hear from you, for you to hear from Narada?
When my father went to Mandarachala mountain to execute severe austerities, in his absence the demigods, headed by Indra, made a strong attempt to subdue all the demons in warfare. They became victorious, and Indra arrested my mother. As she was being led away, Narada appeared on the scene and requested Indra to release her. After accepting his instructions, my mother stayed in Narada's care because she was pregnant of me and desired my safety. Narada Muni delivered his instructions both to my mother, who was serving him, and to me, who was within the womb. My mother has forgotten all those instructions, but I, blessed by Narada, did not. The real problem of life, my friends, is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, my dear friends, immediately begin with meditating upon Him and worshipping Him, who is the Supersoul in everyone's heart.
All the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instructions of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously and rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers. When Hiranyakashipu heard about this, he became extremely angry and decided to kill Prahlad.
O most impudent, unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you are an obstinate fool, as you violated my power to rule you. Today, therefore, I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. You know that when I'm angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with its chief rulers. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you?
O great king, the source of my strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Controller. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His power, He creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it. My dear Father, please do not discriminate between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised towards everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world.
You rascal! You're trying to minimize my value as if you were better than me at controlling the senses. This is over-intelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged by those about to die. Oh, most unfortunate one. You've always described a supreme being other than me, who's the controller of everyone and who's all-pervading. But where is he?
He's everywhere, Father.
Really?
Yes, Father.
Is he in here?
Yes, Father.
Is he in there?
Yes, Father.
Then is he this fellow here?
Yes, Father.
Because you are speaking so much nonsense, I shall now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your most worshipable God come to protect you.
Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword. Cursing Prahlad again and again, he got up from his royal throne and with great anger struck his fist against the column.
Ah!
Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. The associates of Hiranyakashipu became afraid as none of them could find the origin of that sound. Then the Lord appeared from the pillar in a form never before seen, just to prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was true.
What is this creature? Half man, half lion.
The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions.
Lord Krishna, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. What is this use of Sacinandana? Who can fight me? Ah!
Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord.
Ah!
When Hiranyakashipu attacked the effulgent Lord, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. Thereafter, the great demon, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Narasimha with his club and began to beat him.
Ah!
Lord Narasimha, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. When Lord Narasimha gave Hiranyakashipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and let it slip from his mouth, the demigods who had lost their boats and were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon became very perturbed. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Narasimha, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Then the Supreme Personality of God, who is extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakashipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here and there and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Narasimha placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his tights, and in the doorway of the assembly hall the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hands. Lord Narasimha's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes were impossible to look at. Licking the edge of his mouth, the Supreme Personality of God garlanded himself with the intestines taken from Hiranyakashipu's body. Then, after uprooting the demon's heart, he threw his body aside and turned towards Hiranyakashipu's soldiers, who had come in thousands to fight with him with raised weapons. But Lord Narasimha killed all of them merely with the end of his nails. Being very angry and finding no contestant to face his power, he sat down in the assembly hall on Hiranyakashipu's throne. Because of fear and obedience,
by the material energy.
Okay.
Through the material qualities, you very easily create the universe, maintain it, and again annihilate it. Yet you remain the same. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. O Supreme Lord, you are our deliverer and protector. Our shares of sacrifices which are actually yours have been recovered by you. By your presence, the gloom and darkness in our hearts have been dissipated. O Lord, those who are always engaged in your service, which is more exalted than liberation, do not care about karma, artha, and dharma.
after the prayers of Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and other demigods and great sages, Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, was requested to go before the Lord by all present, who because of fear could not do so. But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and could not approach him.
My dear Prahlad, Lord Nrsimhadev is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease him.
When Lord Nrsimhadev saw the small boy prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head. By the touch of Lord Nrsimhadev's hand, Prahlad Maharaj was completely freed of all material contamination. At once he became transcendentally situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love, and his eyes with tears. His mind and sight were fixed upon Lord Nrsimhadev with full attention in full trance.
How is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, and all the saintly persons could not satisfy you by streams of excellent words. Then what about me, as I am not at all qualified? One may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic power. But I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. The Supreme Lord is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering is for the benefit of the devotee. My Lord Nrsimhadev, please cease your anger now that my father has been killed. I am not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. O most powerful Lord, insurmountable Lord, who is kind to fallen souls, when will that moment come when you call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? My dear Lord, People in general want to be elevated to the heavenly planets, but I have seen that when my father was angry, the demigods were immediately afraid. Yet my father, who was so powerful, has now been vanquished by you. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because without offering prayers, dedicating the results of one's activities, worshipping you, walking on your behalf, always remembering you, and hearing about your glories, who can achieve that which is meant for the Paramahamsas?
My dear Prahlad, most gentle one, best of the family of the Asuras, all good fortune unto you. I am very much pleased with you. I fulfill the desires of all living beings, and therefore you may ask from me any benediction that you desire to be fulfilled.
O my Lord, best of the givers of benedictions, one who desires some material benefit in exchange for devotional service cannot be your pure devotee, as he is no better than a merchant who wants profit in exchange for service. If you at all want to bestow a benediction upon me, then I pray from your Lordship that within the core of my heart there be no material desires.
My dear Prahlad, a devotee like you never desires any kind of material opulence, either in this life or in the next. Nonetheless, I order you to enjoy the opulences of the demons in this material world, acting as their king, until the end of the duration of time occupied by Manu. It does not matter that you are in the material world. You should always, continuously hear the instructions and messages given by me, and always be absorbed in thought of me. For I am the super soul existing in the core of everyone's heart. Therefore, give up your defects and worship me. One who always remembers your activities and my activities also, and who chants prayers you have offered, becomes free in due course of time from the reactions of material activities.
O Supreme Lord, because you are so merciful to the fallen souls, I ask you for only one benediction. I know that my father, at the time of his death, had already been purified by your glance upon him, but because of his ignorance of your beautiful power and supremacy, he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you were the killer of his brother. Thus, he directly blasphemed your lordship and committed sinful activities directed against me, your devotee. I wish that he be excused for these sinful activities.
My dear Prahlad, O great saintly person, your father has been purified, along with 21 forefathers in your family. Because you were born in this family, the entire dynasty has been purified. Whenever and wherever there are peaceful devotees who are well behaved and decorated with all good qualities, that place in the dynasty, even if competent, are purified. Those who follow your example will naturally become my devotees. As you are the best example of my devotee, and others should follow in your footsteps.
As the Supreme Personality of Godhead ordered, Prahlad Maharaj performed the ritualistic ceremonies for his father, and was enthroned in the former kingdom of his father.
O Supreme Lord of all lords, proprietor of the entire universe, O giver of benedictions to all living entities, O original person, Because of our good fortune, you have now killed this sinful demon, who was giving trouble to the entire universe. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the Supreme Soul. If one meditates upon your transcendental body, you naturally protect him from all sources of fear, even the imminent danger of death.
My dear Lord Brahma, O great Lord, born from the lotus flower, just as it is dangerous to feed milk to a snake, so it is dangerous to give benedictions to the demons, who are by nature ferocious and jealous. I warn you not to give such benedictions to any demon again.
Then, being worshipped by Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not visible to an ordinary human being, disappeared from that place. Anyone who with great attention hears this narration concerning the activities of Prahlad Maharaj, the killing of Hiranyakashipu, and the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narasimha, surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety.
Lord Narasimha ki
Jai!
Weiter. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Pralad Lakshmana Singh Dev Bhagavan ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande. So, in the next point in the program, we will have the Bhagavatam lecture by His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, His Holiness Sacinandana Maharaj, and His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, bitteschön. Würdest du gerne vorsingen? Ich denke, du kannst ein Harmonium spielen. Ja? Björn, machst du ein Harmonium zum Haraj hier? Harmonium zum Haraj. Er wird von dem Stuhl aus. Ist ihm lieber? Nee. Wir holen ihn dann, wenn er so weit ist. Aber die Idee war, dass er anfängt eigentlich. Es ist genug Platz für alle. Wir machen es immer so, kannst du nicht sagen. Ich kann es ihn aussagen.
Dann machst du.
Ja, ich gehe hin. Du kannst, wenn du hier Platz nimmst.
Er meinte, der Krishna Kshetra meinte, die jungen Leute zuerst, er ist der Jüngste,
Aha.
ich bin der Zweitjüngste.
Wir können es auch so rum machen, aber ich will es trotzdem, wenn Haraj da schon Platz nimmt. Okay. Ist hier wärmer. Das passt schon. Wenn du mit Ranga-Spieler noch findest, das wäre gut. Genau, er spielt schon, aber noch einen zweiten. Genau. If you join the stage, you can. We have all the speakers sitting next to each other, and then it's more dynamic the way. Of course, just trying to. No, it's not about the victory. It's more about it's easy. The transition and it's a little bit fun. Dankeschön.
chant this verse a lot, don't we? Especially at a festival. There are so many devotees to offer respects to. It's good exercise also, bowing down to the Vaishnavas. Just like a desire tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. Who is a typical Vaishnava? Prahlad Maharaj. Typical. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities. The gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons like his father, Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Rather, he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of a Vaishnava who always thinks of the welfare of the entire universe. Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavata Dharma are meant for persons who are completely free of envy. Parama nirmatsaranam. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays in this verse, Kala prasidatam. May all the envious persons be pacified. The material world is full of envious persons, but if one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manas chabadram bhajatad adhokshaje. Therefore, many of Srila Prabhupada's purports end, therefore. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Narasimha to sit in our hearts. We should pray, Bahir Narasimha, Pridaye Narasimha. What should we pray? Narasimham Adim Sharanam Prapanye. Let Lord Narasimha sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean, so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. Srila Prabhupada has more to say. Shall we hear what he says? He refers to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says he has given us a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one always requests some benediction from him. Even pure, that is, nishkama devotees, pray for some benediction, as instructed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtakam. Ayi nanda tanu jakinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet, somehow or other, we would always like to know how, isn't it? Prabhupada says, somehow or other, I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please, pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. In another prayer, Lord Chaitanya says, Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatan bhaktir ahaituki tvai. Life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion at your Lordship's lotus feet. When Prahlad Maharaj chants, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Namaste Jaste Jase, Avir Avir Baba, Vajranaka, Vajradamshtra, Karmashayan, Randhaya, Tamo, Grasa Grasa, Om, Shraum. When he chants this, he prays for a benediction from the Lord, but because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants, just before, in the same purport, Prabhupada said that Prahlad Maharaj was what kind of Vaishnava? A typical Vaishnava. Typical or exalted? Both. Okay. Because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants nothing for his personal sense gratification. The first desire expressed in his prayer is Swastiastu Vishvasya, let there be good fortune throughout the entire universe. Prahlad Maharaj thus requested the Lord to be merciful to everyone, including his father, a most envious person. According to Chanakya Pandit, there are two kinds of envious living entities. One is a snake, and the other is the man like Hiranyakashipu. Two kinds of envious living entities. One is a and the other is a man like who is by nature envious of everyone, even of his father or son. Hiranyakashipu was envious of his little son Prahlad, but Prahlad Maharaj asked a benediction for the benefit of his father. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, as we saw it, as we were reminded in the drama. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, but Prahlad wished that his father and other demons like him would give up their envious nature by the grace of the Lord and stop harassing the devotees. Kala prasidatam. The difficulty is that the kala, envious living entities. Another meaning of kala is mischievous living entities, and Prabhupada uses that word in his purport. Is rarely pacified. The difficulty is that the kala, envious living entity, is rarely pacified. One kind of kala, the snake, can be pacified simply by mantras or by the action of a particular herb. Mantro shadivasha sarpa kalakena nivaryate. An envious person, however, cannot be pacified by any means. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all envious persons may undergo a change of heart and think of the welfare of others. Prabhupada has more to say. Do we want to hear? Yes. If the Krishna consciousness movement spreads all over the world, and if, by the grace of Krishna, everyone accepts it, that's a big if. The thinking of envious people will change. Everyone will think of the welfare of others. Wow. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays, Shivam mito diya. In material activities, everyone is envious of others, but in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone else. Everyone thinks of Prahlad prays everyone's minds may become gentle by being fixed in the lotus feet of Krishna. Vajatad adhokshaje. As indicated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Padaravindayoho, and recognized before Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakto. One constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then one's mind will certainly cleanse. Chittadarpanamarjanam. Materialists all think of sense gratification, but Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their minds and they will stop thinking of sense gratification. Imagine. Imagine this. If they think of Krishna always, everything will be all right. If they think of Krishna always, what will happen? Everything will be all right. Some people argue that if everyone thought of Krishna in that way, then the whole universe would be vacated because everyone would go back home, back to Godhead. Oh, such a problem. However, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's are innumerable. If one set of living entities is actually delivered by the Krishna consciousness movement, another set will fill the entire universe. Oh dear. So ends Srila Prabhupada's purport. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Vanchakalpataru Yascha Kripa Sindhu speak very briefly because we will hear from the senior Vaishnavas. It's actually nice to be in the junior position, isn't it? This is our philosophy. This is our theology. To be in the junior position. And we can say that this is also how Prahlad feels. Prahlad is in his prayers, to Narasimhadev after Narasimhadev makes his dramatic appearance. We heard several of these prayers just a few minutes ago. In one of his prayers, he remembers his spiritual master. Who is Prahlad's spiritual master? Narada. Srila Prabhupada, there was a discussion with Srila Prabhupada one time about who is an advanced devotee. And Srila Prabhupada said, who is advanced? Narada Muni, he is advanced. So Prahlad appreciates Narada, but similarly we appreciate. Appreciate is a very bland word. We worship our spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj gives the example of that. Evang janang nipatitang prabhavahi kupe kama vikama manuya prapatang prasanga ritvatmasat surarshina. And then I always forget the rest when I'm in front of so many devotees. So ham katam nuvisrijay tavapritya sevam. How can I forget my spiritual master? I have fallen into this material world, nipatitam, which is like a well. A well has, a dark well may have snakes in the well. Ahikupe, he says. I am feeling as if I'm in such a dangerous situation. Prahlad Maharaj is remembering and praying to Narasimhadev to allow him to remember his spiritual master. And it's wonderful that he has learned from his spiritual master and remembered from him all that he spoke. As we heard, it seems that his mother, perhaps very much preoccupied with anticipation of being a mother, seems to have been distracted. But Prahlad had nothing better to do in the womb than to listen to Narada, and therefore he remembers everything that his spiritual master spoke. And because he remembers what his spiritual master spoke, he has become the exalted devotee that he has become. Such an exalted devotee that he desires nothing for himself. Does that mean that he has no desire? No, he has great desire. But what is his desire? His desire is for the welfare of the entire universe. That's what I would call thinking big. Srila Prabhupada was also thinking big as he proceeded to preach the Krishna consciousness movement, what he called the Krishna consciousness movement many times. It is a movement, and it is meant to move the world, and specifically it is meant to move the hearts of all persons in the world so that everyone will think of Krishna. They will think of Krishna, and they will think of each other's welfare. Thinking of everyone's welfare is not an easy thing to do as long as we are preoccupied with our own concerns, with the demands of our false identity. Prahlad Maharaj is showing the example that it is possible to think of the welfare of others. I like to invoke the memory of our very dear His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj, who we may not be lamenting, but we may be grieving for his recent departure. That he would sometimes say that our Krishna consciousness movement has 3 dimensions or 3 floors. There's a ground floor, there's a middle floor, and there's an upper floor. The ground floor is constituted of organization, of manpower, of temples, temple buildings, of management, of money, of automobiles. Srila Prabhupada, when he saw the Volkswagen van, the brand new Volkswagen van that had been purchased when he came to Schloss Rettershof in Germany in 1974. He saw this brand new Volkswagen van. Devotees told him, "We just got this van." And Srila Prabhupada said, "Take care of it like you would take care of a newborn baby." Do you remember that? Yes. So we take care of all of these different aspects of the Krishna consciousness movement on the ground floor. And there is a second floor. The next floor up, that is the platform, that is the dimension of our personal sadhana, our practices of Krishna consciousness. We make vows that we are going to practice Krishna consciousness, that we are going to avoid certain practices, certain activities. And in this second level of the Krishna consciousness movement, this is where we begin to take seriously the association with each other. And on this level, we are learning what we already know to some extent as children, perhaps. We are learning to be concerned for the welfare of each other. On this level of the Krishna consciousness movement, we come together and we celebrate the appearance of the Lord. Especially we celebrate here the appearance of Narasimha, especially on this day, because we want to remember that the Lord, as Narasimha, has certain capabilities. He has very sharp nails, and because of his sharp nails, he is able to remove all kinds of things from our hearts. Karma shayan, the desire for fruitive activity. He is able to remove all unwanted things from our hearts. He's able to remove all of our distractions. He's able to remove anything which is inhibiting us from focusing our attention on Lord Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. As one devotee in America has nicely put it, Amarendra Prabhu, he says, Radha and Krishna are completely absorbed in each other. They are perhaps not so much wanting to be distracted by our prayers. Oh Lord, please help me. I have this problem. I have that problem. I have this person giving me trouble. I have that person giving me trouble. I have this physical ailment. I have that mental ailment. Perhaps we should not bring those issues to Radha and Krishna. But Krishna he has everything worked out. He has everything nicely arranged. He expands himself into so many forms. And one of these forms is Narasimha. And Narasimha in particular, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells us, Bhaktivinoda Thakur installed the deity of Lakshmi Narasimha in Mayapur, specifically with this idea. We worship them that they may purify our hearts so that there will be place for Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki in our hearts. So the second level of the Krishna consciousness movement, here we are, we're experiencing. This is very wonderful. And there's a third level, as Kadamba Kanana Maharaj said, there is a third level. One way he explained it is the dimension of the Krishna consciousness movement in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is spreading Krishna consciousness all over the universe, whether or not we are involved, whether or not we are participating. It's happening, it's going on, it's taking place. Whether we see it or not, it's happening. Lord Chaitanya is spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. But Prahlad Maharaj, in particular, is inviting us with this prayer, I would say. He's inviting us to join not only in the ground floor and the second floor, but also in the third floor, to have this mood that Prahlad Maharaj has. This mood of wishing for everyone, even as Srila Prabhupada says in the word for word, almost everyone, the kala, meaning envious or mischievous, and in parentheses Prabhupada says almost everyone, that he is inviting us to cultivate that same attitude, that same mood. Let me wish, let me be a well-wisher of others. Let me become capable of thinking of the welfare of others. Not just those who are immediately in my circle, but let me think of others everywhere, all over the universe. Let me participate in that wonderful mission, that movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us. And that is possible, Srila Prabhupada is saying, if we also incorporate this mood, starting with our offering of respect to the Vaishnavas, Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha Kripad sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. If we have this understanding of the potential of the Vaishnavas to have this desire for the world as a whole, then we become uplifted and participate in that same desire as Prahlad Maharaj. Sri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Sri Narasimha ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaur Premananda.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj. You want us to become well-wishers of also of other devotees and in the world, everyone. This is a big program, really. I remember during the pandemic time, I started a program called Compassion Tuesday, and every Tuesday we would gather and read verses and then meditate and send good wishes to everyone, including war zones, cancer patients, and the many devotees who had asked for benefits. It's actually very nice if you can really think of others, and it purifies the heart like anything. Good. So, how are you? Are you tired or are you all right? Tired, huh? Yeah. When Hare Krishna devotee says all right, then means tired. The word should be.
They're all right.
All right. If you do a simple energizing effort, take your hand like this, and then on an inhale go up, and on an exhale go down. I thought to do this for half an hour now. Heart patients shouldn't do that. Okay, we go faster. Repeat after me, please. Om Gram Viram Mahavisham Jalantam Akromukam Simhachalam Bhatram Mrityo Vidyanam. That's a very nice scripture. Sattva Tantra. Narada Muni comes to Lord Shiva and asks him about the confidential subjects of bhakti. One thing that Shiva tells him is bhakti rises in the association of devotees. Without devotees, Bhakti Devi does not come. And Lord Shiva also speaks about a confidential subject regarding Lord Nrsimhadev. Trailokya dukkha dalanaya Nrsimharupam kritva svabhaktam avitum kilalangalagraye Rishtva surendram asurendra vishalatibra Vakshastalam stalam ivakranakai. Lord Shiva says, Narada listened to a very special form of the Lord. The Lord took the form of Narasimha to vanquish the sorrow of the three worlds and protect his devotee with the tips of his plow-like hands. Holding the king of the demons on his lap, he pierced his broad, sharp chest with the tips of his claws. I particularly became attentive when I read that Lord Nrsimhadev came to vanquish the sorrow that is the misery of the three worlds. In the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam, the misery of the three worlds is called meningitis. Meningitis is like a coronavirus. It's an inflammation of the protective membranes of the brain. In other words, when you have it, you have a headache. It's so bad that you want to take a knife and stab it in your head so that you kill your headache. It's bacterial infection. It causes swelling, and it is so life-threatening that you require an emergency treatment. It brings blood poisoning with it and permanent brain damage. So Hiranyakashipu, this is what the Bhagavatam says, had become like a meningitis, a headache for the three worlds. It was everywhere, even in the higher planetary system. People were suffering and suffering and suffering, just like the whole body suffers when the brain is inflamed and then the whole body is poisoned. There was no place in this universe which did not feel the tremendous suffering brought away by this demon. We hear that the devatas were so afraid, they were hiding, and Hiranyakashipu went into the town of the devatas, Amaravati, and took the seat of Indra. And this means he has a headache. Headache starts in the top, but this is a headache which brings the poisoning of everything with it, even your toes. From up to down, people were suffering. But the Lord saw this, and he decided to take this form, this special form, and just remove the suffering with his sharp nails. I remember when once I was in Mayapur and I needed to go to surgery. So one of the twins gave me a nail from Lord Nrsimhadev. He said, the nail of the Lord removes suffering. It's the only knife which does not cause blood. So I still have a little box with me where this nail of Lord Nrsimhadev is, a nail which I worship so that he removes my own suffering and my own miseries. My dear devotees, in this lecture, I would like to concentrate on an aspect of Lord Nrsimhadev, which I feel makes him a timeless necessity for all devotees of Krishna. Lord Nrsimhadev offers protection. You will see the first time Krishna appears in the pages of the Bhagavatam, he comes as Bhaktavatsala, the friend of his devotee. Lord Nrsimhadev, we know, was so inclined towards Prahlad, that he appeared to save him exclusively. He was very much Bhakta Vatsalya. So I want to narrate to you how Krishna appears, and from there go into Nishinga Tattva. At the end of the Kurukshetra war, Ashwatthama had entered in the night the camp of the Pandavas, where he killed the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi. He actually had come the evening before to Duryodhana, who was lying in his, because he was hit by the club of Bhimasena. And so he waited for his death, and he said, Duryodhana, not everything is over. Now, said Duryodhana, everything is over. Our armies have been routed by the Pandavas. Ashwatthama said, I will bring you the head of the Pandavas. I will kill all 5 of them in the night when they don't have their arms ready. So on that night, Krishna had said to Yudhishthira, Bhimasena, Arjuna, and the 2 twins, let us spend the night outside of our camp tonight. It is better. You will see. And he had brought them out of the camp. So when Ashwatthama entered the tent of the 5 Pandavas, whom did he find? Their sons. And he brutally killed them. He killed others also. He cut off their heads, and he came with a bag of heads to Duryodhana and said, the war is won for you, Duryodhana. Said Duryodhana, he was at the verge of death. I bring you the head of the 5 Pandavas. Show me, said Duryodhana. So he opened the bag. I won't go so much into detail. And he took one head, and in fury, his hands went like this, and he cracked the head. He took another head. 5 heads he cracked, and then he said, Ashwatthama, you are a liar. I can't break the heads of the Pandavas. They are unbreakable. This is not the 5 Pandavas. You are a liar. And he died, Duryodhana, very dissatisfied. He was not at all pleased. So Draupadi, on the other side, said, she cried in distress with tears in her eyes when she saw her sons who were beheaded. Arjuna at that time spoke to her and said, after beheading that Brahmana, I will wipe your tears. Then, get ready, after burning your son's body, you can take your bath standing on the head of this Ashwatthama Brahmana. Kshatriya. So Krishna then came with the chariot, and Arjuna equipped himself with his armor and the weapons to set out to chase Ashwatthama. Now this is the first time where Krishna enters on the stage of the Bhagavatam on a chariot as a servant of Arjuna, as a Bhakta Vatsala. The greatest opulence of Krishna is he protects his devotees. When Ashwatthama saw how Arjuna was coming on that divine chariot to chase him, he fled in fear. He fled so hard that his horses were developing foam on their body, and Ashwatthama, seeing his life in danger, his horses exhausted, finding no alternative, he released the ultimate weapon, you know, the Brahmastra, without knowing how to retract it. My dear devotees, when someone loses all his options, he starts to behave erratically. You remember Kamsa? He was so afraid that he would be killed that he ordered all the young-born children to be executed to avoid that he would be killed erratically, illogically, unreasonably. So when Arjuna saw this glaring light of this ultimate weapon spreading its brilliant effulgence, he didn't know. He said, what is this, Krishna? Krishna said, this is the Brahmastra. And the only solution for you is to throw your own ultimate weapon, dock onto it, you know, catch that and retract it. Yes. Then Arjuna, he began to pray to Krishna, and I request you to repeat after me, where he acknowledges Krishna's quality of being the friend of the devotee who takes the fear away from the devotee. Arjuna Uvacha Krishna Krishna. Oh, my dear devotees, this is graveyard sound, please. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Mameko Ayamananam Apavargo Samsritehe. Oh, my Lord Shri Krishna, you are the Almighty Personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you only. My dear devotees, as long as we are in the material world, there will be the fire of misery. It is unavoidable. Prabhupada says it's like these forest fires which start without anyone going in the forest and sparking them. They come when trees are moving against each other due to the wind, and then they build a spark, and then they will go. In the same way in our lives, there will be miseries, there will be disappointments, there will be tears. The scriptures say that the conditioned souls cry so much due to these miseries that an ocean of tears has accumulated somewhere. We will see disease in our lives. Just a few days ago, a very young devotee developed a heart attack. Very unusual for a young person, but if there is stress, everything is possible. There will be miseries, and our hope, says Srila Prabhupada, to become fearless in the face of all this which is coming, is fulfilled by taking shelter of Lord Narasimha, by chanting. We had this in this purport also. Bahir Nishingho
Hridaye Nitsingo. One more time. Bahir Nitsingo. Hridaye Nitsingo. Lord Nrsimhadev is everywhere. And he's also in the heart. He's pervading everything. Once we played a drama of Lord Nrsimhadev in the Vijayaguru temple, so the actor had to come well ahead of the start of the drama and just hide behind the pillar, the actor of Lord Nrsimhadev. But Lord Nrsimhadev does not have to enter the pillar to go from the pillar and jump at Hiranyakashipu. But here, he is everywhere. And also in our heart. So he is everywhere. And when we can find it in our hearts, to finally throw down our weapons, our man-made efforts, and say, my dear Lord, I can't manage this. This is beyond me. This is overwhelming me. Please, my Lord, you have come in a special form where you hear all these petitions. You have come as Lord Nrsimhadev. Therefore, please be so kind and save us from the miseries of material existence. Compassion Tuesday. Tuesday is the day of Lord Nrsimhadev, they say. And some say Saturday, but every day, probably. But Tuesday is set aside also. So we did this, and I remember when we heard about the Ukraine situation, we made a special program for Lord Nrsimhadev. We called it Global Puja for Ukraine, and it started in Ahobilam, then it went to Simhachalam, then to America. And we met later devotees from the Ukraine. There's one town called with M, please help me. Mariupol, yes. What? Mariupol, yes. And the devotees told me, so I was on the farm and there were many devotees from the Ukraine and they were smiling. They had found refuge in Austria. And they said, Maharaj, we saw the devotees global puja for the Ukraine, and we want to report and tell this to the devotees who did this, that the enemies who had attacked us were not leaving a corridor so that we could run into safety, and we were just bombed day after day after day in our home time. But at the time when all the devotees who participated in this global prayer action chanted in that time, all of a sudden, against all diplomatic prophecies, against all the experts of military experts, a corridor opened, and thousands of us could escape, who could see the chance and go. Not just devotees, people. Lord Nrsimhadev can be called upon at special situations because he is there to protect the devotees. I would like to now wind this up, and I want to give pleasure to all of you. I want to tell you the last conversation which Hiranyakashipu had when
there was this there was something going on in the palace. Hiranyakashipu, uh, uh, when he was just about to be killed, had saw that his personal servant had run towards him. And he said, "My servant, what is it?" The servant said, "Oh Lord, it's a lion." "So what?" "Lion." Servant, he is a lion with a human body. I have never seen such a strange creature. With great confidence, Hiranyakashipu says, "If that is the case, bring him here." The servant said, "He doesn't need an invitation. He's coming on his own. He's on his way." So then Hiranyakashipu's last words, "He is here. He is here. Give me my sword. Oh no! Oh, his nails!" And Baladev Vidyabhushana comments, "May that Lord Nrsimhadev who killed Hiranyakashipu with his sharp nails protect you all." Yes, he is. In the Bhagavatam, there's a meditation about Lord Nrsimhadev. I hear that devotees like to meditate a lot. So, would you like to meditate? Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj, would you like to meditate? Why not? This is the verse from the Bhagavatam which tells us how to meditate. When Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, he was trying to decide who this being was that was standing before him. And here is the verse. I will not put you into a meditative state because we are, at least I am very tired. But please try to envision the form of the Lord. These beautiful descriptions of the Lord was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold. His shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face. His big mane, and his face looked very big because it was just coming from it. His deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick. His chest was broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues and atheists with his conchal, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. My dear devotees, fear, anxiety, misery is what you get. When you fall into an ocean, you will get wet. When you fall into this material world, you will experience suffering. But turn to Krishna. Don't be so arrogant to not turn to Krishna and think you can get help from this world. Learn to turn to the Lord. And as a result, you will expect miracles. You can see miracles in this life. There are many wonderful stories how Lord Narasimha saved his devotees. But a devotee will not always think of his own skin. My precious skin. He will not think like this. A devotee of the Lord will pray more for others. Like our Kshetra Maharaj has recited with us, Svastyastu Vishvasya. May there be good fortune for the universe. Let us start first with our devotees. Let us beg to be released from this powerful envy, this nature which comes due to the overly competitive spirit in our minds. And let us be well-wishers to the devotees. And let us be well-wishers to all devotees, to all people in this planet. And that will be very good. Hare Krishna. Now we will request our Jayadvaita Maharaj to come and maybe we can make good space for him here. Munish, can you consider?
His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj ki
When Lord Nrsimhadev saw the small boy, Prahlad Maharaj, prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prabhat, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head, because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all of his devotees. Purport. The necessities of the material world are four: ahara, nidra, bhai, and maitun. Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. In this material world, everyone is in fearful consciousness, sada sumud vigna dhyam. And the only means to make everyone fearless is Krishna consciousness. When Lord Nrsingadev appeared, all the devotees became fearless. The devotee's hope of becoming fearless is to chant the holy name of Lord Nrsingadev. Yato yato yami tato Nrsinga. Wherever we go, we must always think of Lord Nrsingadev. Thus, there will be no fear for the devotee of the Lord. So, looking at this verse, Swapadamule patitam tadarbakam vilokya deva. The context here is that the demigods had all offered eloquent prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. And Lord Nrsingadev was not satisfied. He was roaring, he was angry. And so finally Brahma pushed Prahlad forward. You try to pacify the Lord. He's come on your account. You please try. So Prahlad Maharaj thought that all of these great demigods have spoken so nicely. I'm just the son of a demon and I'm just a child. What can I do? But then he remembered that an elephant in distress had offered prayers to the Lord, and the Lord had saved him. So Prahlad thought that, well, at least I'm a human being, let me try. So Prahlad Maharaj came forward and offered his dandavats. And Deva, Lord Nrsingadev, Vilokya, saw that this boy is there at his lotus feet, Swapadamule, Patitam, Arbakam. Arbakam means a child. And Prabhupada said naturally one has affection for children. If older men or older people can do things and people just scoff. But a child, everyone thinks, oh, it's so nice. It's the same thing that you might get punished for if you were an adult. If you're a child, everybody goes, oh. So there's natural affection for a child. And particularly this child was very dear to Lord Nrsingadev because he was completely surrendered, completely devoted, Krishna conscious. So from that point of view, he's the devotee is like the pet child of the Lord. Prabhupada explains someplace, Bhagavad Gita, that one that has one is naturally equal towards everyone, but for one's own children, one has special affection. So that's there also in Krishna. He has, what is that? Samaham sarvabhuteshu namedveshyosti na priya. He's equal toward everyone, no favorites, no enemies. But ye bhajanti tamam bhakya mayite teshu japya. If someone's my devotee, then I'm in his heart, he's in my heart. So the Lord had special affection for Prahlad. And Kripaya Paripluta. Paripluta means he was, Paripluta means afflicted, but in context here, touched Kripaya with affection, with mercy. And the Lord became touched. And Utapya touched Shirshnya and Atad Karambhujan. The Lord personally lifted him up and put his lotus hand, Kara Ambujam, on the boy's head. Prabhupada was speaking about Lord Nrsingadev's lotus palm. Tava Kara Kamala Bare Nakam Adbhuta. The prayer is, "O my Lord Nrsingadev, your kara, your hand, is like a lotus, kamala, ambuja, kamala means a lotus. Your hand is like a lotus. Tabakara kamala bhare. But it's very unnatural, adbhuta, very astonishing, that in the lotus there are sharp nails. Nakam means nails. Tabakara kamala bhare, nakam adbhuta. If you pick up, if you pick a rose, you can expect that there'll be thorns on the side, but a lotus is soft, but in this lotus, Lord Nrsingadev's lotus hand, there are sharp nails. Dalita Hiranyakashipu, just to kill Hiranyakashipu. So, but the same pause, really, say lotus hand, but pause or lotus hands, depending on the painting you're looking at. They're very dangerous with these sharp nails. But for the cubs of the lion, they're very... So Sridhar Swami is the original commentator in Bhagavatam. And he's particularly, his Ishtadevata, his worshipable deity, is Lord Nrsingadev. So he has a prayer in which he says that Lord Nrsingadev is very dangerous for the demons. Very dangerous for the demons. But he's very kind and gentle to his devotees like Prabhupada. Now, this is the nature of Lord Nrsingadev. Parachanaya Sadhunam Vinashaya. He's ripping apart the demon Hiranyakashipu. But that same dangerous hand with sharp nails in it is very kind and gentle to his cub or his pet devotee. So the Lord lifted up Prahlad Maharaj and put his lotus hand on the boy's head. We recall that Dhruva Maharaj, with Dhruva Maharaj, the Lord behaved similarly. The Lord appeared before Dhruva after Dhruva's great austerities, and seeing the Lord, the Dhruva Maharaj became speechless. He became stunned. He was just in ecstasy. He couldn't say anything. And then the Lord put his hand, his palm, on Dhruva's head, blessing. And then Dhruva Maharaj spoke beautiful prayers, glorifying the Lord. So here also, the Lord has placed his hand on Prahlad's head, and Prahlad will proceed to offer very eloquent prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. And that will be explained in the Bhagavatam. The Kalahi Vitrashtadiyam Krita Abhayam, and his Karambuja, his lotus hand, is described as Krita Abhayam, giving fearlessness. The Prabhupada explained of these four principles, yes, you can say principles of that the human beings have in common with the animals: eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing. We say defending. Ahara, nidra, bhaya. Bhaya means defending or fearing. Maitunanja, and sex. Of these four, which is the most prominent? Fearing. You'd think sex, right? But no, Prabhupada says fearing. Of all the four, fearing is the most prominent. And we see that even in the animals. Like a little bird, you scatter some crumbs, and the birds come and they're eating, but they eat like this. They're always looking to see whether someone is coming to attack them. Am I safe? Can I eat this next morsel without getting attacked? And in human society also, always in fear. Sada samudvigna dhiya, always in anxiety, in fear. And it goes from the grand scale to small scale, or small scale to grand, small scale fears. Are my teeth yellow? Do I have body odor? Will I get this? Did I say the wrong thing? Am I in trouble? What about this? What about that? I have a pain here. Is it the beginning of something serious? Always in anxieties. Sada samudvigna. Samudvigna. Udvigna means agitated, disturbed. Samudvigna. Thoroughly, utterly disturbed. When? Sada, always. Sada samudvigna tiya. Asatgraha, because we turned away from Krishna, turned away from the supreme eternal reality, and we're grasping at that which is asat. Asat, one meaning is bad. We're grabbing for something bad. It's bad and you're grabbing for it. How stupid is that? But asatgraha, we're grasping onto something bad. But more general meaning, or more usual meaning of asat is temporary, or not real. And the Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita that when we say that something is not real, it means it doesn't perpetually exist. If something's real, it's always existing. And if something's not always existing, then it's not real. The soul is real because it always exists, and the body isn't real because it's like a dream. It exists for a few moments and then it disappears. So we're turning away from Krishna and trying to hold on to something which isn't real, which doesn't exist, which can't endure. So we're eternal, and we're trying for happiness in the reflection of eternity, not in actual eternity. And therefore we're always in anxiety. We're always in fear. Among other reasons, we're a batch of thieves. We're stealing Krishna's property and trying to enjoy. The thieves are always in fear. Are the cops going to find out? Are they going to get us? Are they after us? Plus they're in fear of one another. Is this one going to kill me and take my share? This is the material world, that we place ourselves in a fearful condition. And we spoke about the little fears, the fears of our own personal imaginary, or semi-imaginary, but actually imaginary issues. And then you get to the global issues, you get to wars, you get to pandemics, you get to the environment collapsing, you get to all these huge, major fear sources, terrorism and nuclear war and so on. So we're always in fear. Big fear, medium-sized fear, large-scale fear. But the lotus palms of Lord Nrsimhadev are krita abhaya. They give fearlessness. Kalahi vitrashtadhyam. To those whose minds are vitrashta, always in fear of kala ahi. Ahi, we were hearing earlier, is a snake. And here, kala ahi. Kala means time. The snake of time. Which in its final form means death. Kalosmi. What is that? Loka Kshayakrit Prakrito. The Lord, as the universal form says, I am time and I've come to destroy everyone. Loka Prakrito. Kshayakrit, to destroy everyone. We're all in anxiety, and in one sense that anxiety is justified because we're all going to die. Everything's going to be taken, all our fears will be realized, everything will be taken away, our homes, our money, our family, our bodies, everything will be ripped away from us. What could be more fearful? But so the minds of the world, people of the world, are full of fear of this snake of time, this deadly snake. And why is a snake fearful? Okay, let it bite me, but if it bites me, I'll die. No one wants to die. But for one who's taken shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, there's no fear. Krita abhaya, he gives fearlessness. Because the Rakshasyatiti Vishvasha, the devotee has confidence, the Lord will protect me. Lord will protect me doesn't necessarily mean no one can shoot me, no one can cut me, no one can kill me. No one can kill me in this sense, that Nahanyate Hanyamane Shirire. Who can kill me? I'm eternal. You know, but they have a, anyway, yeah, kids at least in America, I don't know what it is elsewhere, but they have like a gesture. And it means, do what you want, I don't care, can't scare me. So a devotee knows, I'm not this body, what can you do to me? You can't kill me. You can't kill me. And for the materialist, death means everything miserable, everything terrible, everything that we run away from at any cost. Literally, in the last months, people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to put off death for another week. They're so afraid. A cousin of mine, he was like a brother. He died about a year back, and I went to see him at the end, but we spoke, and he was sort of a materialist, sense enjoyer, Buddhist, you know, and very intelligent person, you know, sort of very sharp mind. But he was diagnosed with sort of sudden appearance of cancer, and you know, quick acting. And he told me, he said, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. For all the exterior bravado at the end, I'm afraid. But the Krishna conscious person is fearless. A Krishna conscious person can be fearless. And Krishna will protect me. And as Kadamba Maharaj said, death means change of service. Change of service. So, from that point of view, this is the kindness of Lord Nrsimhadev. Who can be a better master than Krishna, Lord Nrsimhadev? What is that? Praharshaya Shyami Sanata Jivita. Bhavantam Devanu Suram Nirantara Prashanta Nishesha Manoratanta Kadahame Aikantaka Nitya Kinkara Praharshaya Shyami Sanata Is it Jamunacharya Kulashekar prays that Bhavantame Bhanucharam Yunantara. When will I always be engaged in devotional service? Then Prashanta Nishesha Manoratanta. The mind is always going and going and going and going. People are afflicted, they're taking medicines because they can't sleep, because their minds are always going. Day and night, the mind is going and going and going. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Manoratantara, the chariot of the mind, is banging along the road. But Prashanta, Nishesha, that crazy business of the mind can all be subdued, and one can become exceedingly peaceful. Prashanta, just like Prahlada, exceedingly happy, exceedingly peaceful. He's getting everything thrown at him by his demonic father. His father is so powerful, and Prahlada's happy. Prahlada is peaceful. So when the devotee prays, when I'm always engaged in devotional service, then my mind will stop afflicting me, the mind will become peaceful. Karaha my aikantaka, nitya kinkara, when I'm exclusively engaged, when jnana karmaja and avritam, when I'm done with karma kanda, sense gratification, mental speculation, aikantika bhakti, when I'm exclusively engaged in devotional service, nitya kinkara, as your eternal servants, praharshya jyami, I'll be so happy. Now I'm miserable. Now I'm in this miserable material existence. But when I'm fully engaged in devotional service, praharshya jyami, sananta jivita, just like a dog, sananta means having a master. The dog with no master is miserable. The kid's tormented. Maybe not in this country, but in India, dogs have it really bad. The dogs get, the kids torment the dogs torment one another. And the dog has to scrounge around for food. And the sex enjoyment means, again, fighting with other dogs. But when a dog has a master, just like the dogs in this country or America, they have nice masters and they get all the good food and they live in nice warm houses and they have every facility. Go to the beauty parlor, everything is arranged for them. Sanata, because they have a master. So, the Lord Nrsimhadev is the master of Prahlad Maharaj, or Krishna is the master in his various forms of all the devotees. So the Lokanatha, he's the master of the whole world, or all the people of the world. So let us always take shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, or Krishna, and be free from all the fears of material existence.
Wonderful. Well spoken. Well spoken. Well spoken.
I sit next to you.
No. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for participating in such good numbers in the three presentations. It's, I think, very nice when we listen to pull something out and use it. I would like to now know how the program continues. Abhishek, but are we on time?
Yes, we are on time.
We are on time.
So in 15, you can take some questions, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Or should we make a little pause, maybe?
I'm actually waiting for you, that's like...
Yeah. Yes, yes. Let us end here, because you need a little break. So very soon, in about 15 minutes, we will continue in the Royal Abhishek, where we will make the Lord Nrsimhadev the king of our lives. No? Abhishek is given to an emperor, to a king. Hare Krishna. See you. Hari Bol.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of information now, there's a lot of information. And then all the young people with the foolishness and the people with the foolishness.
Hare Krishna, the devotees, just a very short announcement. We have this book from Jayadvaita Swami here about the Bhagavad Gita, and her is also